Hi everyone. Thank you for fixing the mic. So I'm very honored today to speak in front of you, and I want to thank OSBC for inviting me to speak about DevSecOps today. Good news is that lunch comes after me, so I'll try to be quick. My name is Billy Young. I'm a solutions engineer at Snyk. Snyk stands for So Now You Know. We're in the business of application security, letting our end users know about security vulnerabilities in the application. The dog that you see at the top is our mascot. His name is Patch. If you remember, or if you know of other dogs in the industry, we have the scariest dog because he's a security dog. So today I want to talk about DevSecOps, and everyone wants to talk about AI. I love AI myself. I use ChatGPT to help me plan the event, my trip to, this week. I can even write an application in 10 minutes, even though I'm a really terrible coder myself. And in fact, I think my manager sometimes forget that he works in security because all he wants to talk about is AI in every meeting. And with AI, it really accelerates innovation, but not just for organizations, not for us, but also for bad actors. It is now incredibly easy to generate malicious code and automate some of the attacks. And with innovation becoming faster and faster, this is where DevSecOps come in. We need to ensure that security is part of the DevOps process so that we can help our developers secure their application regardless of how fast they go. So regardless of how fast they innovate using the help of AI, we want to be able to incorporate security into the modern software delivery so that we're not slowing them down. We want to encourage them to innovate faster, but in a safe and secure manner. According to a recent report, a majority of organizations today are still getting exploited. They're still losing critical customer and proprietary data. And this is why if we think about DevSecOps, it's not just about securing your data, your application, but there's many other aspects of DevSecOps. So it's about making sure that every part of your software supply chain is secure, but also making sure that security teams have the right governance in place. As developers are using more modern tools, as they're moving into things like GitOps and Kubernetes containers. But also, one thing that as Snyk we really want to highlight is that we want to, DevSecOps is not just about tooling and technology, but it's also about culture. The right tooling also has to be able to empower the different teams to work together, to collaborate together. And I think DevSecOps is not a new concept. Benefits typically, we all know that a well-established DevSecOps practice can help you improve your security posture, can help you reduce costs. But one of the areas that people tend to forget is that we can also help with faster delivery. So instead of security being a separate process, typically slowing down the time to delivery, with security integrated into the DevOps process, we can help speed that up. And if you look at the graph at the top here, half of the organizations, according to this report, globally are already practicing DevSecOps. And in fact, another 30% is in the process of implementing it at the organization. However, if you look at the statistics here on the bottom, according to another recent report, a majority of organizations are still experiencing breaches, but what the worry, the worry part of this is that they're experiencing breaches according to a known vulnerability. So what this is telling me is that organizations have DevSecOps in place or moving towards DevSecOps, and they know about security vulnerabilities in the applications, but it's still causing them a lot of issues. So what we need to do is we need to implement DevSecOps, but in a way that also make sure that we are fixing things that we already know about. So I think that's simpler said than done. And if you look at this Log4j example here, I think we are on, this is one of the most well-known vulnerabilities. It's been around for two, 3 years. This is old, no longer one of the new vulnerabilities. But I was really surprised when I recently listened to another presentation this year that over 4,000 organizations are still vulnerable to Log4j today. Another lesson that we learned from Apache struts, a more recent vulnerability, is that if you look at the graph, most of the attacks occur shortly after it's disclosed to the public. So as an attacker, I want to make use of any new zero-day vulnerability before organizations have time to fix them. And if you look here, what this is telling us is that not only do we have to make sure that we fix vulnerabilities that we already know exist in our system today, but for some reason we're taking too long to fix them, or maybe we don't have the visibility in our organization, but also when there is a zero-day vulnerability, we need to make sure that our teams can react quickly and get it fixed before the massive amount of attacks come along. So today I want to focus on application security because this is what Snyk is, this is where our expertise is in. But I borrowed this diagram from Gartner, and as you can see, DevSecOps is not just about application security, but there are many other aspects. There could be dynamic testing, there could be pen testing, and obviously many different parts of DevSecOps is vital to any organization. And what I want to focus on is the application. This is the IP of your organization. Is the most. This is what your developers are pushing out, business features. And in order to secure this, we need to make sure that security is part of their continuous and now AI-powered development. And at Snyk, when we work with organizations across the world, what we like to focus on and help our customers do is empower the developers. This is where not just giving the security teams the tools to implement this, but also making sure that we are working hand in hand with the developers to ensure that we're not impacting their productivity. So what does that mean? Not just shift left, but really making sure that security is embedded throughout the day-to-day workflow. So whether that could be in the IDE, even before, maybe as they're planning the changes, also working closely, integrating seamlessly into the Git environments. So that could be the GitHub, GitLab, other SCMs in the CI/CD and in the cloud. So I'm going to leave you with some best practices that we have learned as we've worked with our customers, and then I have 3 examples that I want to share with you from Asia Pacific, some of the top customers that we have here. Starting off with, so in terms of best practices, we want to include the developers in the decision-making process. So we don't want to come in with the security team and making developers have to use a new tool, putting in new rules that they must follow. But we want to make it, if we can make it the easy path, then developers will naturally follow this process. We make it part of the existing DevOps process. We also want to make sure that we can provide visibility so they can track their own progress. The security teams can also track the different progress between the different teams, understand when there's a zero-day vulnerability, where is the exposure across the different teams. And to do this, we need to embrace the tooling that they're already using today. Not make them use a new tool, but how can we incorporate the security tools into the existing tools? So that could be an IDE plugin for the existing IDEs, as an example. And another really key area is that we don't want to overwhelm developers. Regardless of how well you embed security in your DevSecOps process, if we are throwing over hundreds and thousands of vulnerabilities, then no one is going to have time to fix that. So we need to have a way to prioritize what we are showing to the developers. There are thousands of vulnerabilities, thousands of CVEs today, but only a small number of those are really being exploited. How can we help developers prioritize the ones that are real risks to the business? If you think about cloud security, similarly, just because you have a EC2 or a VM that is exposed to the public, maybe there's no, you have other controls in place and it's not accessible from the internet. So there are many different factors we need to be able to correlate for the developers to prioritize and only spend the time to fix issues that really matters to them. So I'll wrap up here with 3 examples, and I want to start off with a multinational electronics company here in Southeast Asia. And they're moving all of the workloads into AWS for 2 reasons. One is to speed up the development, speed up the features to the customers, but also to reduce cost. And they want to do it in a secure manner. So part of this migration, we worked closely with them to ensure that as the developers are building and adding new code, they can use Snyk to quickly understand, are they pushing any new code that has security vulnerabilities in it. That new code could be generated from a Copilot, as an example. And as they push the new code into the AWS code pipeline, it was really important to make sure that security testing is automated on every single build. And then, most importantly, all of these findings had to be readily accessible by the security team as well as the development team, so that this will encourage collaboration between the teams, looking at the same information, and then having all of this automated as much as possible so that developers can continue their day-to-day work without really having to learn another tool. In fact, our friend here at this company will be speaking a lot more in detail around how they set this up at an upcoming AWS Summit. The second example I want to share here is one of the leading banks in Asia Pacific. I wanted to share this example because, as we know, not every organization has the luxury of putting everything in a cloud-native environment. As we know, in highly regulated environments, industries, for example, in Korea, we have many highly regulated industries. We tend to see a lot of hybrid environments. So at the top here, they're using the AWS private cloud. Some of the resources are in on-premise, but they're also moving some of the modern applications into GitHub cloud. So, and before I talk about Snyk here, also the challenge that they had was that they were using 6 to 8 security tools within the different parts of their environment. And in a very complex environment, they were unable to get developers to adopt these security tools, especially when most of them did not integrate easily into the IDEs and their workstations. So working closely with them, we were able to deploy Snyk to consolidate 3 of these application security tools. I'm working, setting it up across the environment, regardless of whether it's pulling information from the on-premise environment or whether it's going directly into the cloud, GitHub cloud. So providing the developers with access to this data in a unified manner, but also providing these findings also for the existing tool set, so in the their IDEs, in their pull requests across the different SCMs that they were using. And what this ultimately led this bank to come back to us, gave us the feedback that actually this increased the NPS score after the whole project was finished. So being able to push out more stable application actually increased the NPS score in the App Store. So not just about technology, but ultimately a lot of value coming from setting up a proper DevSecOps process for the development teams. Actually, gave them a lot of value back to the business. And what I wanted to highlight here with my last example is the work that we did with Australia Post. Because with DevSecOps, a lot of customers ask me, how long would it take to get this set up? And in a very large, complex organization, it could take. It's not something that you can just implement on day one. So with Australia Post, this was actually a 3-year journey. And at the end throughout this journey, and also at the end of this journey, what was really important to them was that they saw an actual significant reduction in critical vulnerabilities in their system, but also doing it in a way that minimized the disruption to the 200 developers that they had. And they were also able to calculate that an average time to fix was reduced by 28 days. And this was really important to them because we're hearing, bad actors are learning of 0-day vulnerabilities on a weekly basis. And going back to the example, reducing the time to fix critical vulnerabilities is vital to any organization. And this is the journey that they took. So they did it in phases, and phase 1 was they needed the visibility across all of the applications that they had across Australia Post. And really having that 100% coverage. And this might sound quite simple, but a lot of my customers don't have that 100% coverage. If you don't have that 100% coverage, when the next Log4j occurs, then as a member of the security team, I need to understand that, have we fixed all of the libraries that potentially has this vulnerability? And going from understanding the current state was when they were able to then move on to starting fixing the vulnerabilities that are real risk to the business. And then now they've been able to put guardrails in place so that as new code go into the production, making sure that they're not preventing anything, any new vulnerabilities from getting released into the environment. And then continuously monitoring for those 0-day vulnerabilities that occur as they move forward here. So I want to wrap up. Hopefully, as I know DevSecOps is not a new concept, but I wanted to share some of the best practices and some of the value that a lot of our customers are seeing, not just with Snyk, but there are many other aspects of DevSecOps. So hopefully you found some of this useful, and I want to thank you for listening to this talk.
혹시 질문 있으신 분 계신가요? 한국말로 질문하셔도 주시하고 굉장히 부담 없이 질문하셔도 됩니다. 있으실까요? 질문이 없는가 매우